everyone, and welcome back to the Real Positive Girl podcast. Happy Wednesday. We are halfway through the week. Congrats and yay for that. Thanks again for joining me for another episode of the podcast. Just a reminder that this week we are talking about motivating yourself and breaking that down to different ways to keep yourself motivated and figure out what's going on in your mind so that you can accomplish those goals and dreams and continue on that journey that you want to be on. Today, Wednesday, we are talking about why aren't you motivated? And real quick, as I say every single day, I hope that if your day is just starting, that it's going to be absolutely fantastic, that you're super productive, that it's going to be a great day. And if your day has already started, and I just hope that it's already been amazing and great and manageable. And if it's been tough, just remember to find at least 5 minutes by yourself where you can feel peace and de-stress and deload and problem solve how to make things better. And just know and remind yourself that tomorrow can be a way better day. So just keep that in mind. Again, happy Wednesday, and let's just dive right in. Again, why aren't you motivated? As per usual, I suggest you take the time to be introspective and ask yourself why you aren't motivated. You know, this is nothing new here with this suggestion. I am always encouraging you to be more introspective, be more self-aware of what's going on, increase your emotional intelligence, and really dive deep into what's going on in your mind. Like, more so than just asking yourself a simple question, ask yourself multiple questions. Write those things down. Have a mind map. Take that time to really meditate and really see what seeps out, from those additional layers of what's going on in your mind and not just the surface level. It's kind of like getting to know like a real person in real life, like, creating new friends. I know that as adults, a lot of us struggle with making new friends, myself included, but I feel like getting to know yourself is literally just like getting to know a person in real life. And if you don't scratch the surface level, you're never really going to know them, and you're never going to be close friends, and you're never going to really have that true close buddy. So I always suggest being more self-aware. Getting to know yourself, especially when you're going through a struggle, can really help you have a more open mind about what could be going on with you. It's important to explore what else could be going on in your heart and mind that could be getting in the way of what you were trying to focus on. You really want to take that time to figure out what's going on. What feelings are you actually having? And if you feel like, oh, I'm just having like fear or anger or frustration, like, okay, well, why? Why are you feeling anger and frustration, right? Why have you stopped feeling motivated? Why have you stopped moving forward on the journey that you're on? Why are you experiencing anger? Well, because this and this and this happened. Okay, well, why did those things happen? Because this and this. Like, you really want to break it down. You want to break it down as far as you can to truly uncover what's going on, what you can do to fix it, whether or not you need to enlist help, and so you can move past it and continue moving forward. You got to explore it. You got to figure out what's going on in your heart and your mind, because maybe they're both in two different places. I totally agree that could be a possibility. You want to make sure everyone's on the same page so that there isn't this confusion, there isn't this tug inside of you of what really is going on, and it totally, those feelings and emotions, and if you don't break them down, you don't understand why you're having them or what's going on, it really will inhibit your progress of achieving your goals. So it's important to really figure out what the heck is going on. Consider whether or not you are really invested fully in what you are trying to do and accomplish. And remember, it is okay to change your mind. So I know that this could really be a tough one for a lot of people. Maybe you are finding frustration and you're not as motivated as you thought you were going to be, or you were in the beginning, because this is not truly what you want to do. Maybe it's really not. And maybe you thought you wanted to do it because other people are doing it. I get it. It's kind of like a FOMO thing. Or you want to do it because someone told you that you should, or your parents told you that you had to, or you feel like it's the only option, or it's because you need financial stability, or like someone told you that's the only thing you could do because you're not worthy of anything else. And all of those things are just so dumb. Like, I get, minus like financial stability, I get it. Sometimes we just have to grind and do things that we don't necessarily want to do to make the money that we need to get to a better place where we have more options and more accessibility to different choices. But beyond that, any of that other stuff is just crap because it's funny how people will love to judge you, put you in these pretty little boxes and tell you what you should and shouldn't do, and especially when they don't really know you at all. So, you might be forcing yourself to do something that you have no business doing, or that you really don't have a passion for. You're just kind of like creating that passion on purpose to falsely drive you towards accomplishing those things. You really, if you find in your heart and mind that an inkling of any of what I just said is true, I would encourage you to take the time to really think about it, Or maybe you already know. Maybe you're like, yeah, Sabrina, I already know that I don't want to be doing this thing, that I don't have a heart for it, but my parents made me go to school for it, or are making me go to school for it right now, or I find that it's the only option to do this thing so that I can get to this place. I mean, any of those things, like if you feel like you're being forced to do something, or you feel like it's the only way, I would encourage you to take some time to really think it through, because there are so many different ways to get to things if we actually take the time to problem solve it and really write it out. And if you feel like you can't do that on your own, there is no shame or problem in reaching out for help, Maybe you'll go to counseling and they can help you really break down what your feelings are and what's going on. Maybe it's a really close friend that you trust and you can really just talk it out with them. Maybe it's your partner, your spouse, whoever it is. Your parents. Maybe your parents do support you, but you're putting your own restrictions and blockades up and thinking this is the only way you can go, and they want to encourage you, no, we'll help support you in going this way or that way or doing whatever. Or maybe you feel like you have to do this job that you're really good at even though you don't like it because it makes the most money because it'll support your family. Well, there could be other ways out of that. You could just make like a lifestyle change if you're able to, and just get rid of this and that to exchange it for more happiness, making maybe a little bit less money, figuring it all out, it all working together, because generally if you have a good enough plan, maybe you'll start doing something that makes you really happy, but you get paid less, and then you could figure out what the journey is over time to make more money while still being happy, if the money is necessary to boost your lifestyle, be able to do more fun things outside of your regular everyday life, support your kids in things that are just extracurriculars that they don't necessarily need. This costs extra money. Like, I totally get that. So there are so many ways to make it work, to figure it out. So I just encourage you, really take that time to figure out whether or not you are actually fully invested in the thing that you are trying to do, and whether it's actually worth your time. Is it really what you want to do? Are you wasting your time? And on that note, I don't want you to continue forward in a plan or a journey just because you feel like if you stop now, despite how much you don't want to do it anymore, or you're over it, and you're afraid that you have wasted so much time. You're like, no, I'm 3/4 of the way done with this thing. Shouldn't I just finish it through? I don't know. I think that if you are really done with it and it's not really going to serve you at all in the future, then why? Why are you going to keep going? I know a lot of people are like, well, you're almost in the end, you might as well just finish and then move on. But then, you're going to be even more miserable. It just depends. Like, let's say you're going to school for accounting, and you're not really into accounting, or maybe you are into accounting, but you don't want to do any of the jobs that are available. You want to do it in a different way. So if you actually enjoy the material that you're learning, but you're just afraid of like what jobs that you'll have to do once you come out of it, I would say keep going, finish that degree, and then, but while you're in the midst of finishing it, find different avenues for you to be able to provide that knowledge and service to people outside of just like working at a tax firm or working at like a bank or whatever it is. I don't really know what people learn in accounting, because Math is not my strong suit. But I'm just saying, like, if you find that you actually enjoy what you're learning, if you're in school or something, you actually enjoy that, but you're just afraid of what you're going to be forced into. Like, let's say you're going to school to, be a nurse, but then you feel like your only option is to work at a hospital. I know for a fact that there's other ways. Maybe you could just why don't you just brainstorm and figure out, can you work at a clinic? Or can you work, do telehealth online? Or can you, be like a private nurse and work at schools, or find some sort of way to work within the community and give back if you really just want to be able to get paid a small wage, but really work for like a nonprofit or something like that. There are so many opportunities. Because if you feel like you're just pigeonholed and having to do it in one certain way, I guarantee that there are multiple options to explore outside of what you are being forced to do, or what you think you're being forced to do. Now, let's say you're in school to be a nurse. You don't really want to do it. You don't want to do it in any way. You're just doing it because your parents are like, well, you're really good at science and math and that kind of thing. Go ahead and do it. And so you do it because they told you that you had to do it, right? Or you felt like you were pushed into doing it, or maybe your whole family are nurses and doctors and you feel like that's just like the journey that you're supposed to be on because you're part of that that lineage. I would say, if you stop as soon as you find out that you don't want to do it anymore, you're going to save time. You're obviously going to save money. And yes, you may have already wasted money, but by continuing to spend money to do something for skills that you're never going to use, that's even more wasteful. So I would just encourage you to really take a look at what's going on, how it will actually help you achieve the goals, and fulfill the purpose that you actually know in your heart and God has shown you who you're going to be. You gotta figure out which side it is. Like, should you continue and then move on, or should you just stop and move on right now? That's gonna be a situation where you're really gonna have to spend actual time thinking about it, planning it out, figuring out a solution. And remember, you can always ask for help. It's okay to change your mind. You're not a failure if you change your mind, just so you know. You're not a failure if you change your mind. We all have the right to change our mind, especially if there are so many other things in the way and pushed us into the decision that we're currently doing. There are so many factors. So just because someone might just call you out and be like, oh my gosh, you're just giving up. You're just giving up and you're a failure. You're not. You're just making a choice that's the best choice for you. If your reason for not being motivated anymore is due to social pressures, feelings of judgment, fear, anxiety, or anything of the like, just know your goals are about you, not anyone else. I know that taking on judgment can be hard to deal with, but it's something we all need to work on and become stronger at sticking with, going after our dreams, and doing what we want to do despite all the chatter around us. This is something that I have been continually working on for, I would say I've actually hard focused on it within the last year to year and a half, but it's always been a struggle of mine. And that's the same reason why it took me so long to start my podcast. It's the same reason why I haven't really done any sort of video series on YouTube. I've posted 6-7 videos, but I stopped after posting maybe it's 10 now. I don't know. But anyway, I posted some videos. I really just gave up on myself because, I had this fear of people not liking it. It wasn't really getting out there. There were so many factors and things that I made up in my mind. I was just afraid of people judging me and not supporting me that I kind of just gave up. And I want to encourage you that if you're not motivated to do something that you know in your heart and in your mind that you are truly meant to do because you're afraid of what other people are going to say or comment on, then I would encourage you to work on getting over that so that you can just push through and do it, because people are going to judge you no matter what. I say this all the time. People are going to judge you no matter what, even if you're living your absolute best life, making all the money, just working hard and accomplishing goals. Everything is fine. People are still going to judge you. They're going to find something. And maybe it's not the people that you expected to judge you. Maybe it's not the thing that you expected them to pick apart about you, but they're going to find something. And I know that sounds negative, but that's just the reality of life. There are a lot of people out there that are unhappy and projecting their negative feelings onto others to make themselves feel better and to avoid dealing with their own issues. It's a common thing. I feel like we've all done it at one point, and some people do it way more than others. So you have to remember that their negativity that they spew on you is actually just more telling of who they are and what they're going through and what their issues are than anything they're actually saying about you. Now, it's different if someone actually is giving like constructive criticism, but I feel like most of the time people are just being negative. They're just being negative because they can't deal with their own feelings and emotions. So I would encourage you to just work on that. Work on being able to get past the judgment. Work on just like not listening to the chatter that's happening outside of you. Stick with what you're doing, especially if you're passionate about it and you want to do it. Have that support system around you as much as you can. If you don't have anyone in your life that you can trust and lean on, I would encourage you to get a counselor so that you have someone to at least talk to and make sure that you're on the right level emotionally, mentally, and just to have someone to talk to and really go through your thoughts with, just so you feel supported, even in that way. So I really hope that this episode has helped you. Thank you so much for listening and coming back and continuing listening to these episodes. I would encourage you to share the show, share the episode if you find that someone in your life that you know would really benefit from hearing this. Again, happy Wednesday. I hope that you come back for tomorrow's episode on Thursday. And again, thanks for listening, and I hope to see you next time. Bye, everyone.